Hello everyone and welcome back to AustinPlus, where today we have got another comparison video, where we are actually talking about two of the greatest archenemies. Because every great superhero is defined by an equally great villain, and few rivalries are just as legendary as, like, say, Batman versus the Joker and then Spider-Man versus the Green Goblin. And both villains have terrorized their heroes for decades, changed comic book history, and become cultural icons in their own right. But which one is actually better as an arch-enemy? To answer this, we need to look at their popularity, each villain challenges to their respectable hero, and how they shape their stories and defined what makes them a nemesis. So yes, today we are comparing who is the better arch-enemy, Joker or the Green Goblin. And I think that's a very popular belief that everyone has an arch-enemy, but no one realizes how critical these guys are to their arch-nemesis, being Batman and Spider-Man. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first of all, obviously, we need to talk about, I think, the most critical point to make them an arch-enemy and a villain is their relationship with the said hero. The greatest archenemy are more than recurring villains, they are reflections of the heroes that they actually oppose. The Joker, for example, exists as Batman's philosophical opposite, embracing chaos where Batman seeks order, and proving that one bad day can really change everything. I mean, yes, he was a crime boss or gang member at some point, then jumped into a vat of chemicals, therefore Joker. One bad day can set anyone off. But Green Goblin's relationship with Spider-Man is far more personal. As Norman Osborn, he attacks Peter Parker's family, friendships, and private life, ensuring that these battles between them are never just a superhero fight, but deeply emotional conflicts. Yes, you could make the same argument for certain iterations of Joker, obviously with Jason Todd in that matter, but I do think in terms of personality and personal to hero, Norman Osborn or Green Goblin takes that. Motivation and philosophy are two very core ideas for these characters, and how they actually go about their crime or and how they approach their nemesis, because although both villains are ruthless, their motivations are fundamentally different. The Joker often commits crimes simply to create chaos, expose society's hypocriticism, I think that's how you say it, or psychological torment to Batman. However, his unpredictability makes him almost impossible to understand, making him such a fascinating character in terms of Batman lore. But Green Goblin, however, is driven by ambition, revenge, and obviously their thirst for power. And using their intelligence and resources alongside his insanity to systemically destroy Spider-Man's life is, I think, a weird aspect. And also, if you can understand the Green Goblin and Norman Osborn psychology, you'll understand how that's so different. But between these two, one represents pure anarchy, while the other embodies obsession and personal vengeance. Now, for those who do not know, Norman Osborn suffers with some sort of dissociative identity disorder, same thing that Moon Knight has, in just a bit of a less amplified version. So Norman Osborn is the human form, the Green Goblin is the alter ego, and it is two different personalities. And if you have watched the films, you will understand that, and also if you watch No Way Home, they make that a prominent cause of the story. How they challenge their heroes is another pivotal point to how important these characters are to their respectable heroes, because Joker rarely defeats Batman through physical strength alone, but instead he attacks Batman's morality, forcing him to do the impossible ethical dilemmas where every decision carries devastating consequences. And that's kind of the whole idea around Joker and their relationship. But Green Goblin presents a more balanced threat, combining enhanced physical abilities with psychological warfare. Norman is obviously capable of matching Spider-Man in combat, while also targeting Peter's loved ones at multiple times, but ensuring their victories always come at enormous personal cost is something that both of them share. I would say Norman has the brain capacity to both hit him and match him in combat, and obviously, as I said, target his loved ones. But Joker is more personal to Batman. Batman is his project, and that's why I think Joker's obsession is a core, obviously part of his character, in obviously influencing chaos, and then obviously influencing impossible ethical dilemmas that obviously Batman has put in, which I think such monumental psychological warfare for these characters. Now, if we move away from movies, if we move away from some of that, the impact on comic book history is, I think, where we need to find the most information, because few villains have shaped superhero comics as profoundly as these two. The Joker has been responsible for defining moments such as the paralysis of Barbara Gordon, the murder of Jason Todd, and countless stories exploring Batman's moral code. Green Goblin also permanently changed Spider-Man through the death of Gwen Stacy, one of the most influential moments in comic book history, while continuing to influence Peter Parker's life through repeated betrayals and family conflicts. Now, both of these villains do leave consequences in both of their lives, permanently reshaping them as heroes. Now, this is where I think Green Goblin as an entity is more enhancing than it is to Joker. Joker is more psychological, Green Goblin has more longevity. Now, what I mean by that is Norman Osborn was not the first goblin of sorts, but he was not the last. Harry Osborn then obviously took that reign as well. So the Green Goblin has always been has a presence in Spider-Man's life, always testing him. Obviously, those pivotal moments, obviously Gwen Stacy dying, and then obviously other characters. I think that is a very interesting comparison between these two, because one is purely to try and aggravate Batman. One is literally the other is literally trying to combat every fiber of his being through generations. So that's why I mean Green Goblin has more longevity than Joker does have in terms of psychological warfare. Now, there is no denying that both of these characters are incredibly complex. The Joker's greatest strength lies in his mysteries, and different writers offer different origins, motivations, and personalities for this character, which does make him an almost mythical force that resists definitive explanation. And I think that's that kind of feeds into his character in Chaos, and I think that's how he's been created so articulately. And Green Goblin, by contrast, does possess a far more developed personal history, and Norman Osborn obviously is a businessman, father, political manipulator, and criminal mastermind whose humanity makes his villainy both understandable but also very unsettling. But one thrives because he remains unknowable, while the other grows stronger through his complexity. So I think, in terms of complexity, Joker takes that thing because no one actually knows what the proper story is to go with him. Now, who is more dangerous? I'd say in terms of immediate destruction, both villains are capable of extraordinary violence. However, the greatest danger comes from very different places, because Joker threatens entire cities simply to prove a philosophical point, often valuing chaos over victory itself. But Green Goblin is more calculating, patiently dismantling Peter Parker's personal life before striking him physically. And I think the Joker seeks to corrupt ideals, while a Green Goblin seeks to destroy individuals like themselves, making each terrifying encounter completely different. Now, in saying all of that, who defines their hero better? Yes, the greatest measure of an archenemy is how inseparable they become from their hero, but Batman's refusal to kill is constantly tested because of the Joker, so making their rivalry central to Batman's identity. So I would say Joker takes the reins here. However, do not be fooled, because Spider-Man's greatest personal tragedies, meanwhile, are deeply connected to Norman Osborn, whose actions forced Peter to confront loss, guilt, and responsibility more than almost any other villain. I mean, in No Way Home, they made Green Goblin the person to kill Aunt May, and each antagonist reveals the core values that make their respective heroes who they are. If the perfect nemesis is someone who embodies the complete opposite of the hero's philosophy, the Joker is almost impossible to surpass. But if an archenemy should attack every aspect of a hero's life, physically, emotionally, and personally, Green Goblin definitely makes an incredibly strong case. But ultimately, both succeed because they don't just challenge their heroes, they define them. But yeah, there you go, have it. But that is the end of today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and comment what you think on this on this thought. But I hope you have an amazing day as always, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye. Yeah.